CMB. Man, we all we got. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am.
I hit it, but I hit it of my own accord.
Did you know?
Shit!
Or was your hand forced by DEI?
Ah, no.
well
The woke
played.
agenda made me hit record.
Got you again.
Oh, so bad.
I guilt your ass into that one.
Man, and former President Obama speaking on TV tonight. Ah,
You're just getting it from every angle.
it's terrible. We're going to look at some Sarah Palin pics. I'll talk to you guys later.
There you go. You okay, kid?
Yeah, I'm good.
Palin always gets him.
Yeah.
Like clockwork. Welcome to Tangential Giants, a very politically minded podcast.
Supercharged.
Where we talk on the hottest of hot topics, cutting edge news, or just randomly discuss pop culture things that are happening at the moment, like Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, we got a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, we do.
You guys were at Comic-Con. Do you want to briefly talk about that before we get into our Deadpool discussion? Because I know there's probably some things you guys saw or didn't see or want to talk about from that. Please share. Or not. Moving on.
No. I wanted to see where I didn't want to jump in with the negativity. I wanted to be positive to start, so I was going to give Ken an opportunity to say something that he loved before I started ranting.
Go ahead.
I mean, it was another good con. Just kind of like there's definitely a position of nowadays things we need to be okay with things being mid. Like things being mid should not be a negative. It's like, oh, it was middle of the road. Okay, cool. Like if you promised me for the rest of my life all my meals will be mid, I'm like, you know what? That means I'm never going to disappointing meal. So that's fine. Like I'm never going to come to
the description. It's mid. It's
yeah,
like
right there in the middle.
What was that? It was neg.
Just fine.
Negative.
So
Wait.
Yeah, no, I had a good time this year. I hurt my back before the convention, and so it drastically altered any kind of plan, like get up and go plans I may have had.
You didn't have your Xavier wheelchair ready?
I didn't. So because also on the con floor, a lot more of a hazard. Not hazard, but it's even more of just a hard thing to navigate. And
hey, only if you care about bumping into people.
That's fair, but it's like also like it's yeah. Accessibility in the con is a whole nother discussion we could have, and they do their best to accommodate, but it's also not just a convention. It's also the other attendees who aren't accommodating, and stuff happens. I did you go to con one year with a little foot scooter because I hurt my ankle, so that was a different con. But yeah, it was a good con overall. I had a panel which I think I mentioned, and we put up before the con, so people got to see that. And then
there was a bet that it wasn't going to happen.
There's a bet. Yeah. And then did the panel. Had some good pickups. Had some cool stuff I saw. Some people, a friend of mine was asking me like what the highlights were. Like, it's just a lot of good stuff, but nothing jumps out at me. As like, oh, you saw this. I ran into Fred Tatasciore, the voice of Baird in Gears of War and the Hulk in a lot of the more recent Marvel stuff, like Hulk cool. Agents of Smash.
Yeah.
And ran into like people like a Lego team guy that does a Duck Bricks YouTuber and Lego minifigs guy and a couple different like things like that, but nothing that was like, oh my god, I ran into Ryan Reynolds and I hugged him, and yeah.
So he was avoiding you again this year, son of a bitch.
Hey, you know what? That's as per the lawsuit and the restraining order, I maintained my distance.
See, this is what happens when you side with Wesley Snipes in that deal. You don't get any more access to Ryan Reynolds.
And then what did he do to me on that, huh? And then what fucking happened?
Backstab.
Like, I got your back, Wes. He's like,
betrayal.
I got that Willie Mays Hayes card. He signed it.
I picture that scene from New Jack City where he's got the gun to his brother to the back of what's his name's head and he's about to cry. That's what Wesley Snipes did to you, Ken.
As the
you
check
are your
is
brother's keeper.
But he's
Your
also
brother's
got his
keeper.
phone off to the side while the check is clearing. He's waiting for it to hit the account.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Getting that fat Deadpool money.
Well,
But it's written like an overseas bank, so he doesn't pay taxes on it.
You
Oh,
shit. Whoa!
Yeah.
Why selling him out
Threw me under the bus.
That man paid it. He paid his time. Okay.
Yeah.
He did his due.
for
He did.
previous crimes?
Yeah,
He
He's not
still
gonna
would
make the
have
same
to.
mistake twice.
tax evasion.
Yeah. No one ever does tax crimes more
Hey,
than
you-
once.
George Bush said it best. You ain't gonna fool me again.
That's a point. Got a good point.
Yeah, fair
Well,
enough.
I really enjoyed Comic-Con. I had the advantage that my wife also went, and it was her first San Diego Comic-Con, so she was super excited about everything, especially the show floor. I got to meet and talk to for a second, I'm going to say her name correctly, Allison Seeley Smith, the voice of Storm for X-Men 97. In fact, they had
Oh, wow.
all of the voice actors there doing
dope.
signings and being cool. Saw a whole bunch of good stuff. Ken's panel on comics and critical thinking was fantastic. It was well attended and a very engaged audience. Just overall fantastic job, Ken. You know, I just, as someone that was in the audience and running around trying to take pictures and stuff, it was really well done, and the crowd was really into it. So good work there.
Congratulations, my friend.
Owner of Tangential Giants, JPG, also had a few panels that were very good.
You know the pod
the
just
welcome
ended, right?
party.
You're just talking in the air now. The pod ended as soon as you said that. Just
I
credit
assumed
for
this
that,
was
man.
all in my mind. That was very well. A lot of it is the expo, especially since it was Michelle's first time there. So a lot of us running around looking at vendors and seeing a bunch of cool stuff. I got a Stan Smith dressed as Ricky Spanish American Dad pin, which I'm very excited about,
That's awesome.
and an Amity Island swim team pin, also
Yeah.
very exciting.
That's funny.
Outside of that, go ahead. Yes.
We also got those X-Men cards.
We did. The
we-
X-Men
yeah.
cards.
Go
So
ahead
they
and
had
describe.
they had a special pack of X-Men trading cards for associated with from Upper Deck, associated with X-Men 97, and they were they were limited quantity, and we went by like on 2 different days, and like once the line was just packed, and then they were closed out, and then once we went to another time they went by and again closed out, all sold out, because they do allotments per days.
Mhm.
And then I went by another, like I think because you went there Thursday.
Saturday.
So Saturday, and I'm like, oh, because they also were making personalized trading cards. Like you took a photo, they printed it on a card, they gave it to you, did a whole thing. And so I went to go see what the line looked like, and I'm like, okay, it's still pretty busy. And then I was talking to another friend, Jimmy, and explaining like, oh yeah, these are this limited set of cards, but they're all sold out. And the guy's like, you want them cards? You want them cards? I got them cards. And so I'm like, what do you got? And like, so he has 3 packs available, and he's like, well, I've got these cards, and for viewers at home, I guess we have some here,
Those are dope.
but there'll be a nice edit on the screen for those watching on YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe. And he had 2 packs, and the way it's set up is essentially, I think there's 16 cards in the pack, I believe, and then there are 15 of the same standard cards, and then 1 card is a foil of one of those cards.
Chase card.
Chase card, yeah. So you're chasing down either a gold or silver foil, more for Robert DaCosta, whatever you might be chasing down. I ended up getting one for myself and one for Pat, and so we
Thank you, sir.
each got packs of cards.
Yes.
It's pretty dope.
Part.
It's pretty dope that you two got some.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
well,
was
you
only
guys-
for people who were in Southern California at the time.
Hey.
They said the guy said screw anyone in Florida. It was really weird. I don't know why he
Yeah.
said that.
Very targeted.
Yeah,
Very
really
targeted.
tough.
Look. There. Something is coming. Take a deep breath. It may not be cards, but something's coming. You're good. Don't worry.
What is this, Game of Thrones?
The Lannisters send their regards.
Fair enough.
I also found 49er Super Bowl football pins.
Did you?
At Comic-Con.
At Comic-Con? That's awesome.
Comic-Con. So
No, wait.
Then there's there
Hold on a
tons
second.
of stuff.
Yeah,
I was saying,
the pins
is
guys
this like
were-
the actual, like, the stuff from the 80s? Or is this
Yeah,
like
no, it's the
they
stuff
give-
from
they
the
give to
80s.
Africa because the Niners keep showing up and fucking losing?
No. I'm sad now. No, this is the stuff from the 80s. Like it's
Hey,
got
I'm
like
wearing this stuff.
it's yellow from like cigarettes, from when they were in a room
Okay.
full of a smoker, that kind of thing.
Nice.
I mean,
All right.
these are the same pin booths that have like pins of all the Friends characters' heads. So you can get like a season 2 Chandler pinhead, and
I love
or
it. Season
pin-
2
oh yeah, because
versus
you see them
season
and
5.
yeah,
You
you're like, no, we
know
don't
the
want
difference.
that. We don't,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know they were that detailed.
You don't like you want Rachel with
yeah,
the
no,
Rachel.
because they're not. They were just photos. They weren't like.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha. They weren't the.
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool.
All right. Now the thing that pissed me off.
Let's hear it.
Robert Downey Jr.
New mask.
What's that?
Same task. What can I tell you? I like playing complicated characters.
Not happy.
We're
Not
getting
happy.
into the announcements.
Not
Now, hold on.
excited.
I'm with you too, but I want to give people who are listening a little bit of context because Pat is, since I've known Pat, and I've known him for, I don't know, how long has it been? Too long?
Forever. Like
Yeah.
28 years. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Since high school, this guy's been a Doom fan. Running around chanting Doom stuff before I knew what Doom was about. I was like,
Yeah.
this guy is a
Doom.
weird narcissist.
Don't you
Either
do it
way.
before Doom.
So as soon as I saw the unveiling, you were the first person I thought of because I was like, oh, this isn't gonna go well.
No.
Not at all.
No. Doctor
And this is beyond the shitty Doom casting they had in the, what was the guy's name? The Miles Teller version of
yeah.
Doom?
I don't even remember who the actor was, but that was expected. Like those were Fox Fantastic Four. Yeah,
Well, he's the guy
that's
from all the like Guy Ritchie stuff, isn't he?
I think so. Right?
Rock and Rolla. He was like the. Anyway,
I gotta
You're
look
talking
at
about the Fan Four Stick. You're talking about the Fan Four Stick movie, the Josh Trank one, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, where they had Michael B. Jordan and
I'm trying to pull up some reference, yeah, because there's Michael B. Jordan, which is, and then what's her name? It's gonna be a complete blank.
Kate Mara, right?
Yeah, Kate Mara.
Kate Mara was the
And I forget who
Miles
the dad,
Teller's-
or who was their dad or adopted father, or whatever he was.
Toby Kebbell was Victor Von Doom.
Right, but he's in Rock and Roller, right? And like all the other Guy Ritchie
Double checking
projects.
now.
I think so. Either way,
He's
he had
been
the
in
weird
everything.
like Doom melted face.
Yeah. He had the old. Yeah, no, he was in Rock and Roll. He's Johnny Quid. You're right.
Yeah, okay. I thought I'd recognize him.
All right. Well done.
Oh,
Good catch.
Toby Keeble.
Yeah.
Keeble. Excuse
But
me.
beyond that
Keeble.
casting,
Toby Keeble.
and again, I don't think he did a poor job. I think that everyone was let down by that writing and stuff of that movie. But since I saw Robert Downey Jr., I was like, yeah, Pat's not gonna like this at all.
It's just you're not going to be Doctor Doom. You're going to be Iron Man pretending to be Doctor Doom. It's like all of the Marvel executives read. Ken, were you the one that said this? Read Infamous Iron Man and said, "Oh, we'll just do that. That's cool." Well, isn't it Doom in there? It doesn't matter.
Eh-heh.
Yeah.
Eh-heh.
Aha! Aha!
But this is where I think we might get this. Is there's a number of stories where there is an iteration of Iron Man that appears as if Doctor Doom. The first one that comes to mind is Marvel Team Up, written by Robert Kirkman. He's like in gray armor and a gray armor and a green cloak over his head and cape, and he comes through a portal and he starts fighting with Reed Richards, and he's like, Richards, and like he's fighting with people, and they're like, and then they come to fight still, and he's like, wait, I just realized you've been calling me Doom. And he's like, that's why this world doesn't make sense. Lives up the faceplate, the scarred up Tony Stark, because in his world he broke bad and did a bunch of shit, but it was in the original classic armor, so like it's this big bulky thing, but it looks Doom if you don't take the time to look. And it was a really good story. And it came back a few times. I believe it's the Iron Maniac is the name of the character. He eventually becomes dubbed. But like, then there's also ones where like he went back in time and did stuff. And so it's like, if we have like a version of the Council of Kangs where we have the the Legion of Doom, or like the count. I'm trying to think of the Council of Dooms or whatnot, what they call themselves. But if a version of that is like, oh no, there's a few Tonys on the dark side keeping things at bay until we finally get to Secret Wars, where true Doom comes out and stomps Tony, like these imposter Dooms. I think that's where I think we could get. Sorry.
Now, that all sounded great from a comic storytelling perspective. Part of my issue, I had two issues. One was because you unveiled it was Tony Stark already. Like, you've lost the thread for the movie if that was going to be the surprise, because that is your marketing angle, is like when he shows up on screen after several fight scenes or whatever it is, and then you take off the mask, that's when you get that like, oh snap, the like in-game kind of response from people. Now that everyone already knows that that's what they're going to be expecting. But that the other thing I had an issue with was that you've basically, because he is, for all intents and purposes, the MCU, you've shadowed whatever Doom you do cast. Because everyone's going to reference his version, especially if he shows up before. Like if you had a Doom, say they casted, I forget the name, the guy that was from Nitpicks or whatever. You know, I thought he was a really good Doom. Say you had him in
for the time, he played a really good Doom.
Yeah. So you casted him, and he's in the first movie, and then you show up with Robert Downey Jr., and then they kind of compete. He has a leg to stand on because that's what the audience knows as a reference for Doom, and they will go with, hey, there's another version of Doom. Here's our main Doom. Here's another version. Now you're going to be setting like, this is Doom as Tony Stark. In any version, even if you say like, oh, this is the real version, it's like, well, we've been fed Tony Stark's version. This guy doesn't act like him, doesn't play like him. He isn't that version of him. He's a lesser Doom. And that's what you've set up for in a bid to basically erase the Kang stuff you were banking on. Now, I feel like it was kind of rushed.
There is a scenario. I'm sorry, Ken, go ahead.
No, you're good.
There is a...
I think, because I agree with you because... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
I agree with you. It is a bit rushed because they know the public perception is that they've been failing lately. I don't think they've been failing. I think that they've put up some good movies. I think that no matter what, coming down a high off of Endgame, everyone's like, well, what magic are they going to produce next? It's like, well, again, back to about mid is like, they can't keep, like, nothing is going to keep up to staying at that level. You don't like that plateau. You're going to have to come back and do new swings and build a story again. And I think that the public perception that Marvel is failing, they wanted to trust that, and that's all that was. It was just hype. It was just, which is, that's the purpose of the machine, is to hype it up again and get you back invested. And people are excited again. So was it rushed? Yeah, because I would have, me, I'm the spoiler folk group who's just like, no, like let me get a chance to watch it as clean as possible, which is part of my argument against releasing Deadpool Wolverine fucking Comic-Con weekend. And I have to sit through fucking panels of constant spoilers and shit. But they don't care about that. They wanted to get the public opinion back on themselves, which, for good or bad, that's their purpose. I would have loved to have had that moment in on screen if they would have been like, they shatter the mask and he turns and it's fucking scarred up. Okay, and I'm like, let's fucking go! Like that would have been, I would have been so happy about that. But
yeah,
we're not. We're in such a weird place now of like, nothing can just be a surprise for the screen. Nothing can be a surprise in comics. Like we get announcements because we have to do solicits 3 months in advance for us to order the comics, that we know the shit that's coming. Like the death of this character is going to be in this issue, and it's like, that's just to hype up our purchases of it as a shop, so that we have plenty of stock on hand. So like, and it doesn't really, stories don't get to be told organically anymore. That's kind of a different topic, but it's the same one we're having. It's like, I don't know. I want to be able to just sit back and watch the and have that moment on screen and enjoy it, and kind of don't get that anymore.
No. Now, all of this said, oh no, you're 100% right. It would be much more enjoyable as a surprise than in seeing how it's executed, than just having to build anticipation for it and allowing your imagination to run wild. All of this said, I imagine the whole point of him coming in as Doctor Doom, if he's going to play Victor Von Doom, or even he's playing Tony Stark Victor Von Doom, is because he doesn't have to be on screen a lot. He doesn't have to do a lot. He's going to be a disembodied voice, and maybe his face occasionally. Technically, he could do Victor Von Doom.
See, that was my other get, is that you casted Robert Downey Jr., you gave him the vault, the bank, basically, to come back. There's no way we're going to get a Doom that is true to, I am scarred, I don't want to show people my face. We're going to get the, oh, look, my mask fell off, and I have to show you a monologue for the next 10 minutes without my mask. I'll put it back on. Oh, guess what? It came off again in the middle of a fight because I'm Robert Downey Jr. He couldn't even keep the mask on for the reveal for what we just discussed is the surprise. He came out on stage within 30 seconds and took the mask off immediately. He could have said a few words like, hey, you might recognize the voice. I'm going to be doing some crazy shit. Build it up even on stage for a minute or two. He immediately came out, took the mask off, and did his Tony Stark thing.
You don't think he's going to Ryan Reynolds it and do the face scarring? And
no, I would have loved that. Because even, again, Ryan Reynolds figured out a way to do the Spider-Man mask better than Spider-Man did, essentially. I don't mean to denigrate him, Ken, but I feel like Tom Holland just has trouble keeping the Spider-Man mask on for extended lengths of time. Do
we think that Tom Holland's call, or do you think that's Sony?
No, that's MCU. That's MCU.
I think because of that, because Ryan has been he's been a series producer on the Deadpool movies and has that level of control and leeway. I think because of the size of the project and because of the role Ryan Reynolds has in his 3 movies, he was able to get away with more. And because he's like, no, I'm the one who's calling the shots here, as opposed to Tom Holland. As much as he likes jumping around for Marvel, it's still on Sony's bill, and Sony has a certain amount of no, we need to fuck this stuff up to a certain degree because we're fucking morons. And I don't know why the executives keep saying that, but they do. And then we get Craven, which, by the way, saw the trailer for that. There, the trailer version of that movie. There's there's parts where this could work. I know it's not going to. I've seen their options. I would
like to show somebody all of the trailers for the Spider-Man villain movies and Madam Web movie, just all of them, and then get there. How do you think these did? It's oh, it's pretty good. It's not bad. Okay, I just want to see somebody no knowledge of anything Sony's done or comics. Just show them the trailers, and then watch the movies and see how disappointed. This would not be the first time Robert Downey Jr. doesn't show his complete face, though. He did do blackface for an entire film once.
I've seen
just saying.
I mean, we've all I think I've just seen the memes on Twitter and stuff and on Facebook of oh yeah, here's the new
Black
Kang.
Panther and Kang
it's
Luke Cage
funny, but I'm also
Robert Downey Jr.
I'm like, damn.
Fair enough. You're right, Pat. You're right. That would be the one exception to the Robert Downey Jr. was Robert Downey Jr. in blackface.
Maybe they just go there. I mean, it's just, can you do Romani face? Is that a thing?
Is that what he's gonna do, Pat? He's gonna come out as Kang, as Doom, as Tony Stark.
No notes. Perfect.
So he's a dude wearing a mask, being another dude.
He's like, I'm moving on up. I don't but I'd laugh.
Perfect. I had mentioned this to Pat. I think even that weekend or whatever, and I was just like, there's no, because again, I am not the Doom expert. I am getting into him. I'm trying to catch up in preparation for any of the stuff they're going to have planned going forward. I've come to like him over the couple of years or so that I've been reading about him. But I do at least know that the mask stays on. That is, rarely does it come off, even in the comic. Even when he's at home, he's Doom in the mask, and he feels more comfortable in. Either way,
yeah.
I think depending on the iteration, also depending on, I think that there's everyone needs their own headcanon of what a character is, because we have 20, 30, 40, 50 years of some of these characters. So there is that. To Pat's point, they reference, there's references to the infamous Iron Man, which is where he kind of takes over for Iron Man. He's using a suit that's similar. It's a whole thing, but he doesn't come out and say he's Iron Man. Dr. Doom doesn't, but he does have, after after the events of previous comics, his face has been restored, and so there are multiple times where he steps out and he's like, "Oh no, like my face is no longer."
Well, that's to my point though, is that like for the most part, the reason why he has the mask is because he's disfigured like that.
Yeah.
And he keeps it on throughout. Like I'm saying, even when you write in panels where he's like, I'm on my bed with my harem, it's him in the mask. Like it isn't like, oh, I've taken it off to relax. It's like it's always on. And Robert Downey Jr., as we've all kind of watched during the progression of Iron Man, spent less and less time in the mask. He had the suit on, but his face was mostly showing.
Well, I mean, yeah, and that's there's about that because they also do the HUD thing where he's like, he's there. I think to that point, less and less is he wearing a suit. Like he's like in the last movie, he's wearing like in the first movie he was wearing armor, and later on we got that kind of floaty head thing because of just it doesn't quite work for some people. The odd thing is to me is that some people see it have no problem, and I'm like, you can see it right there. It's just off, and some people just don't have the eye. But I do miss seeing like the armor and the way the light caught it, and you're like, it felt like it was there, and you felt the weight of it. And, he. But also, that's like I'm making how much? You're not gonna make me put on the armor. I don't have to.
No, and that's what I'm saying. They figured out a way, and I think the other context that I was having an issue with too is that it feels like now that we have him back, we have the writing crew and the directors, or I guess producers, from in-game, and like we're gonna get roughly a similar product.
Yeah.
And I'm like, to your point of chasing the high, I'm like, I don't know if you necessarily chase that high with what you think is that same high. How many years it will be now? 7 years, 8 years later.
By the time this comes out,
I think
8 or 9
well, I mean,
years later.
It'll probably be there. I mean, well, yeah, 8 or well, I mean, what if they peak right out of 10? And we're like, it's a 10-year run of like different movies up and down, and then like that's what I'm just saying. People need to expect and understand that like you're going to have these like ups and downs of it, and then finally after
but I'm saying I don't even think they're going to have the up because they haven't earned so far in the like time between in the space between in game and whatever this next big project is. I don't feel, and again, I've enjoyed a lot of the projects. I don't think they've earned what the first Avengers did. Like we haven't built out an Avengers team that feels like they're going to earn whatever they get in this first. It's not Secret Wars the second? What's the first one?
Doomsday.
Yeah, like I don't feel like whatever we get in Doomsday is going to be earned because they're probably not going to have Captain Marvel back because incels hate her. I don't know what they're going to be doing with the Marvel's project.
Well, let's see how the election goes.
Fair enough. I don't know.
That's actually a fair, like. I mean, there's still pissy little incels, but it's just a matter of like how much credit do we give to their voice anymore? Which we need to stop giving any credit. But what are you gonna do?
And I'm not even necessarily talking about their voice. I just the apprehension from Disney these days to be like, oh, we got to shirp our money in certain areas. I'm not saying they're kowtowing to them. They're just like, hey, we don't have the luxury.
We need a
capital.
We need a guarantee.
Which means we're also going to only have one Captain America movie by this point of the new Captain America, as far as how he's going to lead a team. Like you're not. I don't know if we're even going to see him be an essential leader like we saw Cap build up to that. Like he's kind of earned that leadership role. Maybe we get. I mean, I don't think Red Hulk's ever going to be a hero necessarily to be part of an Avengers team in that capacity. Maybe they write him into one, but we don't have that. Hawkeye and Black Widow, like those human-based characters that some people might identify with or might just like as the esoteric auxiliary people. We don't have those. Like, I don't think they're going to bring Kate Bishop into any of this stuff. I'm just saying, like, we have Shang-Chi. He's been sitting there, floating in there by himself as a potential Avenger to be like powerful enough to take on this big task, but they've done nothing with him.
Strange.
She-Hulk's been canceled. Like, I don't think they're going to bring her in. Daredevil's a street level character. Strange has been, Strange is there. You're right. We do have Strange.
You have, I could see, what's her face? The other Black Widow. I'm blanking on the name. Yelena. I could see her.
Thunderbolts.
But I could see them getting drafted over. Like, cool. We're going to go ahead and promote you now. No. John Walker, you stay there.
But I got a shield.
Go.
I'm trying to think. I mean, we could get White Vision back at some point. Like that's still kind of like.
But again, not earned is my point. Is like he could show up. He could come floating down in the middle of the fight and you'd be like, This Vision has been off finding himself. Like, he'd come back with a fucking pina colada, like, I don't want to fight anybody.
I kind of hope that's what happens now. He just shows up with a pina colada.
Like, wait, guys, wait. I know I've been away for a while. Here, hold that real quick.
Have you guys ever had a margarita? Let me show you what these things are about.
Jesus, it's so good.
This one's strawberry. I mean,
exactly.
Any fruit flavor. It doesn't matter.
Got it on the suit again. Let me fix that. Oh, kind of a drunk since I've been gone. Wanda's dead.
Yeah. I think that's fair that we haven't built back up to like a cohesive team yet, and I think that's due to them feeling like saying that She-Hulk is canceled. I mean, I don't think we have an official statement on that, unlike, let's say, Acolyte, which we have had an official statement on, and that came a lot quicker.
Yeah, really
I think that I'm wondering if She-Hulk is easier, cheaper to animate than Bruce Banner. I'm genuinely curious about that because they did it on a show budget. So does that make a difference? Like,
well, that's part of the show. The reason why they're not getting a season 2 is the show budget ballooned. Like, it was cost too much.
Yeah, because they
now.
Well,
to your point, though,
can't fucking throw in all those characters either. That's a little bit on them, but
I mean, to your point, though, she might be budget friendly for a movie.
Yeah,
and maybe not necessarily a show. So.
Also, now with the power of AI, shouldn't be that expensive anymore.
I told you, White Vision is on the way. Okay, we've got the AI taken care of.
One chromatic, just one color. Oh man, monochromatic. Exactly. Easy as pie, no problem. And white, so barely any actual definition. Great, sold.
Even better.
I feel like they threw out a lot of pieces to set up stuff, and then they just let them float out there. Like, they never got back to them.
Yeah, no,
we could have a Young Avengers now if they have the characters out there. Like, what's the guy's name from Captain America Winter Soldier show?
Oh, Patriot, the kid.
Patriot, yeah.
Isaiah Bradley? No,
that's Isaiah. Yeah.
What the hell am I?
Other Bradley.
Child Bradley.
Isaac. It's not.
You can look it up as we stall, but Kid Bradley, he exists.
Yeah.
Kate Bishop exists. What's Ant-Man's daughter's
Eli Bradley
code name?
What is her code name?
Who? Oh, that's Stature.
Stature exists.
You say Ant-Man? That's Stature. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. So we would need and I mean, technically, Wiccan and what's his name they exist in the world.
They exist, but let's
look. I think a lot of the heavy lifting there, because we're not done with Wanda. We're a lot of that heavy lifting.
I mean, Agatha can bring them back if they need.
And I think
I'm just saying they exist in the world. Like, they were specifically pointed out in the existence of the MCU. So we got all you're missing is Hulkling, and we have the scrolls. Like, if you want to just replace, what's her name from Game of Thrones as your new Hulkling, you could do that. Emilia Clarke, I think it is.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, Secret Invasion, which was another like piece of a puzzle that
went nowhere.
Yeah.
You know whose fault this is?
Kevin Feige.
The Eternals.
You just want to blame the Eternals.
He's not altogether wrong.
That's
actually, no. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna blame this on noted piece of shit.
Zachary Levi. Fuck that dude.
We can do that too. he messed up the Thor movies with his presence.
You think it's The Rock's fault?
No, I was going to say Ike Perlmutter. Ike Perlmutter pushed the idea that because they didn't have the movie license anymore for X-Men or for the Fantastic Four, he was specifically altering the comics and what was being pushed as a title, which is why we had Ms. Marvel Kamala Khan pushed out as a human, and now retcon to be a mutant human thing, and it's whole all that. I'm gonna blame Ike Perlmutter, and he also the bullshit he caused between Marvel Television and Marvel Studios at the time, so we couldn't have a good TV show in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It could have been better. It had its moments of positivity. I enjoyed it, but there's definitely some low points.
How you gonna sell the toys? Huh? How you gonna sell the toys?
Yeah, you have to say that, but more racist because he's a horrible monster.
I don't he is
You can be
That's
like,
my,
like
repertoire.
sexist. You can't sell a toy with tits. There.
There you
That
go.
is a little
Yeah.
Vince McMahon.
Yeah, he's
you
who
quick
I
grow a
blame for
dick?
this. There you go. But yeah, the Eternals was definitely a misstep. I remember calling that from the beginning. I'm like, Eternals don't sell. They're like the third or fourth iteration of the New Gods. Kirby kept trying to write his own stories, and not that he's bad writing, but it's like it just never like you watered it down each time to make like, oh well, it's a great new character and create like they never hit the way. That's like it's like the new universe characters; those are still not hitting,
Yeah.
and like I get that we want to have new characters and also maintain IPs and licenses, but like some of them are just like the Inhumans are just backup characters. Like just
They're
let them
great.
be in the background. They're not
as,
they're not
like-
front runners.
Yeah, you put them in like a Fantastic Four story, and like Black Bolt pops up and like doesn't say some shit, and like that's great. Okay.
Well, see, I think if you were again, I'm assuming when they wrote the script and you get it approved, they were still in negotiations to get the X-Men, so this was their backup.
Yeah.
I also feel like they could have had a script assigned to where Inhumans meant something, like their story isn't some kind of side piece to everything else in the MCU that we're seeing. Like they are somehow fully actually integrated. Like their story, when you leave the end of that movie, you're just like, cool. Like nothing they did mattered. They just left a random fucking hand in the earth, and that's it. And we'll just every now and then reference it. But nobody knows them. Nobody references them specifically. Like their actions don't amount to shit. And so if you're going to be like, hey, we're going to have them, and we'll keep them around. Whenever the X-Men show up, that's going to be their rival. And this is why we're building them out as like the family versus the other family.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
And this is why. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please.
I would say this is where like you at some point when like you're in negotiations to make that to get those other rights back. This is where you do pull the Batgirl and be like, you know what? All things what they are, I don't think this is going to move forward. We're going to go ahead and shelve Eternals and say, you know what? It's just what's right now. We have other properties we think are stronger. We're going to shelve Eternals and just move forward from there. We've already spent X amount of money on it. Those people are still paid. Let them keep that money and then just move forward because, like, as much as I hate Zaslav, the move to shelve a property is not completely without some merit, but do it with a property like that where it wasn't completed by the time they got those rights back. So don't throw good money after bad and also hurt your property. It's like don't release Morbius because it's just going to hurt.
Oh, hey.
Whoa.
They released
Don't release it twice.
For success.
I think the problem is that now we're into Marvel being on a hot streak at the time. The
coming off of a hot streak.
Yeah, coming off
because
when it was greenlit, it was a hot streak.
Yeah, the over reliance on top name stars to sell the film because it was an unknown property. So it's really hard. It's telling the people telling the actors in Batgirl to piss off is very different than telling the cast of Eternals to piss off because there's some heavy hitters there that for good or ill.
You know, and I will take Pat's productive side of this. Like if you're in production and again you've already got the greenlit, you've already got the money written out to these people. Like you're not going to get that back right now.
No,
there's no way you can be like, oh, guess what? We're going to pay you to not do this. You're going to work. You're going to earn your money. What you do is fair enough. You're right. No, they did. To your point, they did that for Batgirl.
But and they did it for Marlon Wayne as Robin in Batman Forever. Marlon Wayne still gets residuals for that movie because
not as much as everyone else who was in the movie.
Or Seal.
He also did.
Or Seal. Seal makes all the money. I think George Clooney doesn't make nearly as much as he does.
But as far as much as money was put out, and I'm sorry for the amount of effort.
Or was that Val Kilmer?
That was a deal.
You're right.
Yeah,
he
did. But
But my point is that at this point, you should at least reevaluate your story to be like, you know what? If we're going to have them in the background, then we don't make them super powerful gods that don't amount to anything in the MCU. So they've sat there and they watched Captain America do his thing. They watched Thor show up. Thanos show up. They've watched everything and done nothing. And then by the end of the movie, they left doing nothing. So it's like, why did you make this whole property?
I think my guess I had to hazard a guess, is like you said, they did not have X-Men and Fantastic Four when this discussion started and when the movie started. I have a feeling part of what we're running into is there was a whole bunch of stuff written that incorporated the Eternals into the Marvel universe, that the moment the X-Men came in, okay, we've left the movie off to where we can either put them in everything, bring them back and do a bunch of stuff, or they can just disappear and we never have to talk about it again. The moment they got X-Men and Fantastic Four back, it's like, oh, get out of here. And I think it left a little in the lurch.
Well, I also think that they fucking supersized the shit out of them. And I know that they are powerful and everything, but I'm like, when you add, like, say if you were to bring them back, you'd have to make your villain like infinitely more powerful for them to be a part of a team up. Like, it isn't like, oh, they're taking on something by themselves. It's like them plus the Avengers plus whatever else you're gonna throw in. That villain has to be 5-6 times better than whatever that group is.
Yeah, almost
you made them too powerful.
Like,
which is why
Iron Man with magic. You'd have to combine something like that.
Fair enough. We shall see. I know that, having that announcement with Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. as Doom, I was left wanting. And again, I'm only someone who's just now getting into Doom. There's some stories I'm reading now, and I'm like, I don't necessarily see them tarnishing, and I say that loosely, it's doing a lot of heavy lifting here, Robert Downey Jr.'s legacy as Stark with what some of the stuff that Doom does.
Yeah.
Because Doom's experimenting on people and just willy-nilly killing. Like, he's got to deal with people, and he's like, I'm going to grab these people up, I'm going to experiment them, I'm going to pull these things apart so I can understand how they work, and he's just going to, like, leave them for dead. I'm like, I don't see them doing that with what legacy that we have as Tony Stark, his famous last words are, his words to his daughter. I'm like, now you're going to bring him back to, like, be, the ultimate villain that Doom needs to be. I don't see that. He's going to be, to Ken's point, to your point, some version of Doom that's a little confused. And I'm like, that's not really Doom. You've wasted the Doom essence out the gate with his version of him.
Here is how you save it, though. Even if he's going to be everything else, as long as he actively despises and is driven to madness by Reed Richards. If you can at least get that part. I just need him to angrily say Richards, like, with all the venom and hate in a human being, at least one time.
Fair enough.
I got at least give me that.
Okay. I could probably see that. Also, I want some of the condescension that he gives for Reed being kind of an unfit husband most of the time.
Most of the time.
I'm just saying, I want him to be like, this is what you settled for when you could have had me?
Yeah. Well, that's actually Neymar's job.
I was going to say,
Doom too.
Now I'm like, are we going to... Oh, and by the way, in our talk, everything, we didn't talk about Black Panther or Namor. We talked about the pieces of the Avengers. Neither of
That's because Marvel's not talking about him.
I mean, Marvel's not talking about a lot of things because they're just kind of like, what about Anthony Mackie as Captain America?
I'm sure our audience is probably screaming at us, but I think there's actually controversy with Namor, so they may need to either recast Namor or figure out something with that character. I think he's in like a bit of controversial hot water, so to speak.
Namor?
Yeah.
The actor.
The actor or the character?
Yeah.
The actor.
Oh, the actor.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of controversial with Namor, the character. Yeah.
Yeah, the character.
No.
But you want to see that on screen.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just I didn't know anything was going on with that.
Well, because I think I got overshadowed by actual Kang. Like, those stories kind of happen.
That's totally fair. I mean, I genuinely didn't know that there was any kerfuffle, or I don't know what else what to label it as without being.
I'm sure Disney's going, and our plan's working to perfection. They've almost forgotten about that guy. He can just ease off into the sunset, hit that old dusty trail with Namor.
Fair enough.
We got to jump 10 years in the future for new T'Challa.
And Namor's still going to be there. He's not going.
Yeah.
He's the oldest mutant alive.
It's a fair point. Just hangs out.
I mean, older than Abin Sur.
Yeah.
Huh? 97. Huh?
Which one's older?
Abin Sur. Technically, I think Selene is the oldest mutant, but
okay. Fair enough.
Because she was like with the Romans and before that.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
But yeah, that was Comic-Con.
Yeah,
I guess
it was fun. It was entertaining.
Yeah,
got to hang out with good people, which is usually kind of always like the side thing,
Yeah.
the thing of like Comic-Con, like, oh yeah, you want to run into like someone cool, but then also like, no, you get to go out and have lunch and you know, with your friends that you don't see for a while because everyone comes in town Comic-Con. Like everyone's like, oh hey, we're, you know, I haven't seen you in 3 months. Let's go get dinner or things like that. When you can make it work out because Gaslamp is chaos. And yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that
you
must
know,
be nice.
you know what they say.
Hey, mean,
Chaos.
maybe you get out here for WonderCon and we can talk.
Yeah.
You
Fair
get your ass out
enough.
here.
I will say just real quick, the coolest thing I saw the entire time. In one of the hotels, they had a pinball room set up, and we got in there like 10 minutes before it closed, and they had a Jaws pinball machine that played the movie, like clips of the movie as you were playing, and they also had a life-size Quint, the captain of the orca in Jaws, and half of Bruce the shark, like in the room.
That's pretty cool.
Just hanging out. And I have pictures. It's so detailed. They are so detailed. It's insane. I also then saw that pinball machine 2 more times while I was in Cleveland. Like, wow, this is just following me now. It's weird.
Also, for listeners, Pat is a big fan of Jaws.
You dang right.
This is kind of the context for that.
Yeah, you got city hands.
He loves Bruce.
I mean, Bruce was the innocent one in this whole thing.
He's shark doing shark things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amityville's
invaded his
the
area.
villain.
Amity Island, man.
There you go.
Mayor. Bureaucracy's
Especially
the
the mayor.
villain.
Fair enough. That and the 4th of July.
They re-elected Larry Vaughn, man. They re-elected him.
That amazes me.
Does it? Does it really
Yeah,
amaze you? Does it?
It did back. It did
Yeah.
8 years ago.
Yeah. Now, like,
Now I can see why they
All
did
right.
it. Just that sucks.
so that
Moving on to Deadpool,
yeah, the thing that's going to save the MCU, fix it.
which isn't Robert
Entirely.
Downey Jr. It's Ryan Reynolds
Yes.
who keeps his damn mask on.
Except when he doesn't. And then you see his. Wait, you're saying that Robbie Downey Jr. keeps his mask on, or
No, I'm saying Ryan Reynolds.
yeah? Except when he doesn't, and you just see all that cancerous furry face that he has.
Yeah.
Which
It's a reminder.
props to him for wearing it. Like that's because you could just have nice pool the entire time if it was another movie, if it was another studio and another actor. You just have nice pool out there,
If-
and like no,
if there
we're
were
giving
a,
you what we.
if there were a 4-letter word associated with it that begins with S and ends in Oni,
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna nitpick a little bit by your compliment to
I mean-
Ryan Reynolds. He is.
We also we have a new list.
nice looking version of Deadpool, though.
Yeah,
Like I'm sure they could really go to town on that, like scar makeup that he should look like. He should look more rotten. Like he should look something like out of a Evil Dead, more so than what he looks like currently. Right now, he just kind of looks like applesauce put together on top of shoulders. Or what's the artist that did the was it not all new X-Men? That X-Men run with what's her name in it?
Cassandra Nova,
Yeah,
Okay,
who's the artist?
okay.
Frank.
that you're
Mushy,
talking about Frank
mushy
Riley.
people. Yeah,
Yeah, Mr. Mashed Potato Face.
yeah.
Like, everything's made out of
That's
lumber
what
mashed
Ryan. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds looks like mashed potato face, but he could look a lot worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I made a list for us because this movie is so massive and all the different like nooks and crannies. Trying to break it all down would be just we'd be here for 3 hours plus. So
Yeah.
I had a couple just kind of quick things we could talk about.
Go.
Like, I'll give like one or
Pop
two.
him off.
There you go. We got best moments. We each give us a couple best moments. If we got a couple nitpicks, you can throw those out there. Favorite character or actor, biggest surprise, any letdowns, and unsung heroes. Those are just like we can change it up
Yeah,
as we
that's
go.
good.
I thought
I like that.
this movie is jam packed full of things, and I'm like, even if like because like if Pat says like, oh, my favorite X, then I can be like, okay, you know what, I can change mine to Y, and I'll be like, it'd still be a solid win. So yeah.
All right, well then you can start off, my friend. You brought us our list.
Yeah,
Oh,
Give us our example.
you get first pick.
then I'm going to go down to my biggest surprise was that, and this is, by the way, going forward, spoilers for Deadpool Wolverine.
Yeah, we
Deadpool
gave you a
Wolverine.
solid 45 minutes of chatter. If you want to leave, you can
We're going
leave.
forward. You're getting screwed. Pause.
leave,
Come
though.
back later.
Yeah.
Forget to comment and subscribe though. Make sure you do that.
I don't know why they killed Hulk, but they did. They killed.
Kill you.
They killed Thor.
You need to shut up.
They killed Thor. They killed Black Widow. And worst of all, they didn't kill the Arrow guy. I don't know why.
Biggest
that you
surprise is that they did Age of Apocalypse Wolverine as one of the little cameos. That was my biggest surprise. Like, because as I mentioned earlier, we'd been seeing like little bits and pieces of teasers throughout, like because we saw it after Comic-Con, and so we saw it probably about a week later. And I was very happy to finally get to see it, but like I had already been like, oh, this character isn't it. This character is in it, and I'm like, all right, like I'm just gonna try to keep my head down from the internet and not. But know that Age of Apocalypse Wolverine is one of the Wolverines that he goes to, and like he's just like sitting in against a wall in like tight black and red leather or whatever, and he's got like just a stump for a hand. Like, that's so good. Like, that was probably the biggest surprise
He had
for me, and like
the hair.
he had
The
just like
massive,
the bushiest hair possible. Like it was the AOA Wolverine is the biggest surprise because like there's other Wolverines and we have cameos, but like that one, I'm like I had heard like whispers of certain things, but I'm like I would have never like I would have never thought that we got AOA Wolverine as one of the just the random shots.
Yeah.
Like, that's all right.
I was hoping at that point that's when they were going to bring back the original Cyclops, Marsden.
Yeah.
To be that
Marsden.
counterpoint with the eye patch. That would have been a cool nod to them. I wish they had somehow figured out a way to bring him back. I feel like he got done wrong.
Yeah, that's also wrapped up in our end credits comment, which I think is really solid. And I think that because to some of the comments that are in the movie too, it's like there's a fair amount of so someone's really inflating the budget for a while, so they could only get certain people so many times. We have a cavalcade of other things of other people to
you're right.
About, so
it was an unnecessary get for me, but I thought would have been kind of cool, especially because With that being said, before we get to Pat real quick, I just want to go on a tangent real quick.
Shut up, Pat. I don't know what name.
Did they make a better use of the multiverse in this, or in Spider-Man Far From Home, or what was it? No Way Home.
No Way Home.
Yeah.
This is a better use of the multiverse.
Yeah.
Like,
what about Doctor Strange though? I know maybe Spider-Man was just maybe. How dare you?
Nothing
It's
compares
in the
to Doctor
title.
Strange. Nothing compares to Doctor Strange.
It's in the title.
Yeah.
We got a cube universe.
We had a paint universe.
Yes.
We had
I've seen Splatoon.
Red was green.
It was chaos. Yeah, this is what I wanted when they gave me Multiverse of Madness. Like this is what I was hoping for, and I mean, and to your point too, though, we could have even had why couldn't we have gotten a Cyclops cameo in there? Like we could have they could have done it, but again, the budget and stuff like that. But this seemed like it took more swings than Multiverse of Madness.
I would wager also if there's a cameo you thought we'd get, we didn't, is probably a timing thing. He's like, yeah, I can't make it. Like James Marsden just couldn't get there.
Probably. Or could it, to your point, it could have just been cut out. Like we're probably gonna hear stories of people that shot just like fucking Marlon Wayans and just never got into the movie.
There was I actually heard about another cameo that was attempted, but they just couldn't get the timing out. Like there was someone else who was like, oh no, I wanted to, but I couldn't. Like their stuff didn't work out. I mean, Storm would have been good.
They just didn't call her back. Blake Lively called her and she's like, would you want to be in the movie? She's like, yeah. And then her husband was like, shut the fuck up. Shut up.
And then Wesley Snipes was like, nah. Nah, man.
That's right. Are you the one that told me that story? That he was like, Halle Berry, hell no. Nah.
That is what my wife has told me. Yes.
That's right.
That's, they had a thing and that it's not good.
It's very what was his name? Cersei and the other dude from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
They couldn't be on the same screen at the same time.
Yeah, the Braun.
Yeah. It's kind of my ex, and I'd like to not see them on set. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
What?
All right. Go, Pat. What's yours?
Biggest surprise? Think what we're doing?
Yeah.
I'll do biggest surprise. Okay. there's surprises all over. The one I was not prepared for was comic accurate Wolverine.
Yeah,
Like the first jump and 5'2" Hugh Jackman. It's like I mean that might have been my biggest laugh. I don't know. I was grabbing Michelle's arm like it's true. That's what he's supposed to look like.
No, that's
Did
good.
not
That's
expect
quality.
that.
Because like
I love how he
there's-
points it out too. What are you supposed to be?
Oh, and there's times too, like where people are like, "Oh, just cast Danny DeVito because he's the right height," and I'm like, they could have done like that, like just cast a shorter actor.
Yeah.
But they just did like this little horse perspective Wolverine, just like, "Hey, yeah.
For a moment there, I thought they were going to actually cast. Is it? It's Daniel Radcliffe, right? Is the one that everyone.
Daniel Radcliffe has been internet. Yeah, I thought like
pitching for him.
Yeah. I thought some people were going to do like when we saw Patch or some of the other Wolverines, they were going to get in there. But I mean, I don't know if anybody else has a bigger surprise in that regard. But
mine's is Gambit by far. Like,
I'm about to make a name for myself here.
It got spoiled for me.
It didn't get spoiled for that.
Yeah,
I tried to warn Pat because I told Pat I had seen it that week and he's like, "Have you seen it?" I'm like, "Yeah." But if you want to, stay off the internet because there's a lot that at the time I didn't know for you guys that had been kept from me. Like I didn't know he was going to be in it at all. I didn't know most of the people were going to be in it because I saw it opening weekend. Yeah. But as soon as he came walking around the corner, I was like, "There is my boy!"
It was pretty awesome. So well. He did such a good job. So well.
And all the press that's been on, like going on, like just like him, like just carrying that fucking torch for Gambit for so long, like it makes me so happy that he got to play that character and like do it on screen, man.
It was pretty damn awesome.
Shooting out of his dad's balls.
Because he keeps going on. That was the best part.
Yeah.
But no, it was seeing that and then also seeing not just the comic accurate suit, but the movements. Like, that was something that we didn't really get.
Him digging into the ground.
Yeah.
Like when Wolverine just like goes in on all fours and start charging, I'm like, damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Like let's put X2 to shame. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean,
think
they
before
got a
that,
bunch of writers together and a bunch of, I don't know, maybe they reached out to some of the old writers from the comics and was like, "Hey, how do we have fun with this and bring in some of these like Easter eggs that, again, unless you're reading the comics or maybe necessarily watching the old cartoon stuff like that, you'd be sitting there going like, oh, was I supposed to laugh at that?"
I know Andy Park is one of the art directors on Deadpool Wolverine, and he worked on some comics back in the day, so it's like I'm sure some of the visuals can probably be informed by his experience with, okay, this is how we're going to portray that and things like that. At least that'd be my guess. So
they gave
but that was my biggest surprise was just seeing
the full costume, the actual Gambit, like no notes,
the face protector,
the head sock.
The head sock.
I'm shocked we have not brought up Johnny Storm. That none of us as surprised.
I think it's because
he spoiled.
Yeah, I think it's because it wasn't a surprise. Yeah. I something that I when I saw it start to play out, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is what, because you kind of heard rumors of things like this, and I'm like, yeah, they're in the void. I could see this happening.
See, that wasn't spoiled for me, so I got a kick out of the fact that he said instead of saying Avengers, like I laughed out loud like hearty at Flame On because I was like, did not see that coming. I really didn't see that coming. And maybe I should have in the dialogue leading up to it, but as soon as he's like, he's gonna say it. And he says that line, I'm like, oh, that's right. He did do Johnny.
Oh my God, he's gonna say it.
Oh my God, he's gonna say it.
Say what?
Avengers Raymond!
Sorry, what now?
I really thought he was dead when he crashed to the ground.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
he
like
died.
that was, they played it. He hit it so hard, so well. No notes. Yeah. It's like, oh, he's alive. Oh, damn. All right. I mean,
no, they had to save it for a much worse death later.
Yeah.
But no, I was glad to see him in there. Sabretooth was also a nice little one, but these weren't like the major ones. But Gambit, again, the way he just walked around that corner, I was like, they did it. And they did it on the back. And they did it on the back of X-Men '97, where he was still kind of the character riding a high.
Like real banner year for Gambit. Banner year.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
He died
I
a
wish they
bunch
could,
of times, but Banner year.
Yeah.
if we hit the nitpicks points, it would be that he didn't have the black and red eyes, but that's fine. Like
Yeah.
that's otherwise they did it perfectly. But that didn't diminish the performance. That's just like my nerd brain going like, oh, wish they'd have done that. But yeah, unfortunately I had that spoiled for me, which is another thing. I was like, damn it, I would have loved to have had a moment on like in the theater.
Now, don't
And
get me wrong. Like, it was interesting, and I only say that because I am a Gambit fan, but it was
Yeah.
just as surprising to see Old Blade and Electra come out, because they could have done Mahershala Ali as like, oh, hey, here's your Blade, and he's gonna be in the next movie. They could have done that cheap stuff, but they got old Wesley Snipes, which I thought was awesome, and then they got
this
Electra as well.
movie isn't Eternals where they tease Blade a little bit. This isn't Eternals. This isn't. I'm just taking another swing at Eternals for some reason.
Has the
I don't
sound
know
effects
why.
in the background.
It just. Sorry, go ahead.
Does this take us into our characters, character or actor? Because it's like some of the
I think so,
performances are
yeah.
tied to that. Do we want to? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Go for it.
Kareem, start us off.
I mean, obviously my favorite character is Gambit, so
Yeah.
his 15 minutes on screen was all that I needed. But as far as the actor is concerned, I think Hugh Jackman stole this movie. Like his story arc, his range of emotion, all that stuff kind of played out really well. Like Ryan Reynolds does a good job. His character is very much his Deadpool character, but it feels like he's still kind of the one note. Like he's the gimmicky. Like even though he wants to like save his friends and family, stuff like that, and he kind of goes on a small emotional arc over that. He's not really losing anything in the process. But I felt like Wolverine as a character through this entire thing of him having been goaded into this adventure, not wanting to, and then coming around at the very end and ready to do it. I thought he was by far like this is as much of his movie as it is Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool. I thought he did an awesome job, especially for coming back to the character after he basically left everyone in tears, and like that was the stamp of like, hey, that's the end of Logan, and to come back and be like, oh, I still want more of him because he still has more to give.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
Ken, what do you got?
I was going to say Ginger Giant. But
All right. I can.
You got anything in the hopper?
I mean, since you've taken,
He's gonna go Negasonic once
really
again.
enjoyed Cassandra Nova. I really enjoyed
Yeah.
Cassandra Nova. I thought she was so good. Go ahead.
She is so good, and like there's an action thing where, and it ties back to what somebody said earlier, Frank Whiteley. She does the thing where she puts her hands through people's heads. It's so unsettling and a direct pull from the comics.
Mhm.
I both love it and hate it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh god, it is so like, it's unnerving. Like just even thinking about the visual,
It's visceral.
just going like,
yeah.
oh, it's super visceral.
The-
And so, and the way she played, not the Cassandra Nova I think of, but I definitely enjoyed this performance of Cassandra Nova. Like she's a much more engaging Cassandra Nova than ones that I've read in the comics.
Yeah, she was much more interesting, and just the way that she chewed the scenery, but not in a bad way. The way she just I thought she did a fantastic job. I thought she was menacing and terrifying and funny all at the same time. Queen of the Ashes kind of thing was just really, really well done. I enjoyed her immensely.
I was hoping that we could see her in an X-Men situation because I wanted to see that her visceral use of her powers versus Xavier's, like as a counterpoint. Like you see Xavier kind of at a distance, and that almost kind of encompasses their dichotomy. Like Xavier is afraid to get his hands dirty, which is why he has the X-Men team, and he always does his thing from afar with fingers to the head. I'll probe your mind this way, and she's like, no, I'm gonna get in there and fucking mess around with what I'm get my hands dirty, doing basically the same thing he does. Just it's just a visual effect to it. And I would have loved to have seen that in a movie where like he does his thing and then she comes up behind him and it goes into his head or whatever. I'm like, yeah, your way isn't nearly as fun as mine. But it was awesome. Like I like that actress, the way like you said, portrayed her, and the fact that I felt like she played her age range version of Cassandra Nova, because Cassandra Nova, I think in the comic is a little bit older.
Yeah.
So she has a bit more pithiness to her. Like hey, I'm a little bit aged, and this is why I'm so surly in that aspect.
A little more grizzled.
yeah, this one I think played the right, like, hey, I'm this age and this is what I'm going to do with that power, with this amount of wisdom that I have.
Mhm.
She
And
was
power.
really good.
It reminds me of something that I believe it was saying we were said about like Emperor Palpatine of like, oh no, they absolutely love being the villain and they're just having
Yeah.
a great time. Like they just like when Palpatine's like shooting lightning from his fingers, like like that's just her in this movie.
Yeah.
She just
Yeah.
gets to be the bad guy and she revels in it, and that revelry is just like she just well done. I you're the bad guy. Good job. Like it's like that was really.
I just
well
loved her
done.
conversation when she was like, it's like, oh, if we let you go, you're going to kill us. She's like, yes, I will. Immediately.
100%. I'm definitely going to. Just
Yeah.
kick any dog she sees in the just, you could just tell.
Yeah.
Just like immediate.
Yeah.
She did. When a
So I'm hoping they bring her back somehow.
when a
Yeah,
villain-
for an X-Men movie.
when a villain chews scenery the right way, it's always fun. So, all right, Half Pint, you're up.
Yeah, what do you got?
It's rough because off my notes, my favorite it was Gambit. Like,
Yeah.
but I don't. Well, we've already just like we've sold the audience. Everyone saw it. It's great. I definitely really enjoyed the inclusion of X-23. I was happy
Yeah,
to
that
see
was
her,
Great.
and I thought that was a really good like. Especially like she puts on the shades from Logan. I'm like, that's like all right. Let's fucking go. Like,
Yeah.
that's. I mean, yeah, that was probably one of my favorite. I wish she had more to do, but I think that like what she got to do was fun. I'm glad there's potential for something else there in the future.
I have a
considering
question,
the
though.
things left. Yeah.
As much as I loved her in that role, and maybe I missed it, how did she wind up there again?
They don't say.
They don't
That's what I
say
thought I was thinking, because I'm
They
like,
don't say how
just like-
anybody winds up there.
because the inference is that the trimming of all the branches and people getting pruned is how you end up in the void. So
Right.
these people were pruned from their individual timelines. How all of them ended up there. You know exactly what happened, and we're led to believe that this is the X-23 from the Logan movie.
right.
She's like, oh, I know you're not him. I know you're not my Wolverine, but it's inferred that that's her. So I'm guessing as Paradox was going through and having those things trimmed in the original manner in which they wanted to do it, and as opposed to like the bomb ID he had, that they were trimmed out of that at some point.
Yeah.
Because the same reason we have like the 20th Century Fox logo in the background is
That was pretty awesome.
we're saying goodbye to the Fox era.
It doesn't, when you think about it a little too much, it doesn't make a lot of sense that, oh, your Logan's dead. Well, for the Deadpool to be in the same universe, they cannot be at that point yet because all the X-Men are dead if Logan is dead. Because Professor X went, yeah.
Well, it's
Well,
a different
the X-Men
it's a
at the
different
mansion.
timeline. In that one, they didn't have the same event.
Yeah.
But that's,
So there's
go ahead.
it in the timeline that Professor X lives and he's being taken care of by Caliban and
Mhm.
Wolverine. That's a different timeline that X-23 is from than the one that we see our Tiger
Logan.
Stripe Wolverine Logan in.
No.
Our failure Wolverine is from.
But I'm not talking about the failure movie. I'm talking about Deadpool. They say Deadpool's universe is the Logan universe. We saw
Is it?
Colossus earlier because that's the anchor beam for his Earth is the Logan Wolverine.
I don't
No, it
agree or
isn't.
understand that as the concept, as the context.
Maybe I
Because that's also one thing I think is this is maybe more of on the letdown or nitpick is I know it's just to tell the story that they want to have a moment with about Vince Vaughn. It's John Favreau
Mhm.
where Deadpool goes to apply for the Avengers, but it notes that it's a different world, and then he ends up back at his own world. And I'm like,
Mhm.
so did he hop worlds to apply to the Avengers and then come back to his own? Like it's really unclear like what the thought process was there. So the idea also that there's an anchor being in Deadpool's universe. And
So
it's
wait.
not
He
Wolverine?
comes over to
No,
John Favreau's universe?
Yeah, because they say Earth, X amount of digits, and then when it goes back to his, it's a different set of digits. So he jumps to a different world to go talk to Happy, and then come back to his.
he wasn't.
I mean,
yeah.
they distinctly gave you different numbers. That's why I'm like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But okay,
Cable's watch wasn't time traveling. It's just time traveling. It was also.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he had cables.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he was previously
But
jumping.
he-
Because he brought back everybody.
Yeah.
He brought back his girlfriend.
he brought back mostly everybody. I didn't.
So he was jumping before the TVA showed up.
Yes, and they didn't have a problem with him doing what he did. They were fine with that. I also remember this is kind of a splinter branch of the TVA because we do eventually get our main character that I can't remember her name now from Loki.
Okay.
So yeah, so
The one without the cool
it's a little. There are some inconsistencies there, and I'm sure like there's maybe something left on the cutting room floor. So when this hits Blu-ray, we'll get some lead scenes.
I mean, frankly, it doesn't really matter. It's not the point of the film. It is a movie. Much like everything in the Fox universe. Just don't think about it so hard. You just can't get a headache. This does.
You enjoying yourself? Sit down and have some popcorn.
Yeah. This does transition to what if I'm going to say my biggest, I'll say nitpick or least favorite character. The TVA. I'm good. Good.